Welcome to Concrete Block, the podcast where we dive into the latest news and analysis from around the world. I'm your host, Walter. Today, we're going to explore the complex and ever-changing landscape of Middle Eastern politics and security. A recent conflict, known as Epic Fury, has brought to light the shifting alliances and power dynamics in the region. According to a recent report, the United States played a significant role in the conflict, showcasing its military might and unique conventional capabilities. However, despite this display of strength, the U.S. is facing challenges in maintaining its influence in the region. The rise of other global powers, such as China and Russia, is altering the balance of power, and the U.S. must adapt to these changes. The report highlights the importance of multilateral security cooperation in addressing the threats posed by Iran. The U.S. has a long history of seeking to formalize security commitments with its allies in the region, including the 2015 Camp David Summit and the proposed Middle East Strategic Alliance Initiative. These efforts aim to create a collective defense against Iranian aggression. However, the report also notes that the Gulf states are seeking more agency in their security arrangements. The signing of the Comprehensive Security Integration and Prosperity Agreement between Bahrain and the U.S. is seen as a valuable model for future cooperation. This agreement expands the definition of security beyond defense to include economic and technology cooperation. As the Middle East continues to evolve, it's clear that the U.S. must navigate these complex relationships carefully. The Trump administration faces significant challenges in leveraging its military accomplishments to deliver an agreement that blunts Iran's threat. Meanwhile, other countries, such as South Korea, are revising their defense export policies to fill gaps left open by the U.S. The question remains, can the U.S. find a way to balance its own interests with the needs and desires of its allies in the region? Or will the shifting landscape of Middle Eastern politics ultimately lead to a post-American era? We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're diving into the latest developments in the Middle East, where a tentative deal has been reached between Iran and the U.S. to end the ongoing war. The agreement, announced earlier today, aims to reopen the strategic Strait of Hormuz, a crucial waterway for global oil and gas trade. According to reports, the strait will be open toll-free for 60 days, with the U.S. expecting this provision to be part of a final agreement. The International Energy Agency has welcomed the deal, stating that the unconditional reopening of the Strait of Hormuz is essential to ending the energy crisis that has been affecting economies worldwide. IEA Chief Fatih Birol emphasized that the fully and unconditionally opening up of the strait to shipping is the single most important solution to this problem. However, there are still concerns about the potential presence of mines in the waterway, which could take weeks or even months to clear. Additionally, Iran has suggested it will retain control with Oman over the strait, and Israeli forces remain in southern Lebanon, sparking uncertainty about the region's stability. As the situation continues to unfold, we'll be keeping a close eye on developments and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. The impact of this deal on global energy markets and regional politics will likely be significant, and we'll be exploring these implications in further detail in upcoming episodes. Welcome back to the Concrete Block. Today, we've been discussing the ongoing situation with the U.S.-Iran conflict and its impact on global oil prices. As we dive into our final segment, let's take a closer look at the latest developments. Oil prices have dropped significantly, about 4%, to a 3-month low as markets weigh the prospects of a resumption of supplies through the Strait of Hormuz. This comes after U.S. President Donald Trump announced an interim deal to end the war with Iran, although full details have not been released yet. According to reports, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi stated that Iran and the U.S. will start a new round of talks in Switzerland on Friday to reach a final agreement. The conflict led to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, which typically carries about 1/5 of global oil supplies. Analysts are predicting that flows through the strait will resume soon, adding to downward pressure from already soft physical markets. However, some experts caution that even in the best-case scenario, it's likely to take quite some time before shipping traffic and energy exports from the Gulf region have normalized again. Goldman Sachs has lowered its fourth-quarter Brent forecast to $80 a barrel from $90 and cut its 2027 average estimate to $75 from $80. Other analysts, such as those at Commerzbank, forecast a Brent price of $85 per barrel at the end of this year and a return to pre-war levels of around $65 per barrel next year. It's essential to note that the situation is still unfolding and volatility risks remain. As we continue to monitor the developments, it's crucial to consider multiple perspectives and stay informed about the potential implications on global oil prices and the economy as a whole. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay informed.